the growth accumulates. There's like companies now coming in, then the ETFs are coming in, then the nation states are coming in, and slowly it accumulates, and all of a sudden, like, oh shit, we are Bitcoin at like 1 million. Oh, this is happening. But it takes a while. But all of a sudden, we're making those jumps. So I don't know. I just think people are impatient, and the fiat system is kind of making them even more impatient because they see how everything is devaluing, how rent is going up, how food is going up, and they're like, oh, like I need my Bitcoin to go up even further. And it's like, yeah, but chill out.
Yeah.
you outperform it.
And I get it. Like everyone, especially not on a Bitcoin standard, they're working so hard. They've been saving, doing all the right things. They may be earning like the most amount of money that they've ever earned in their entire lives. And they're living like worse off this year than they were last year, even if they're earning more, or they're like staying in the same place. So they feel like they deserve a better life because they've worked hard for it. But unfortunately, the traditional system or the gatekeepers or whatever, or just simply because the money's broken, we've been steered off the path. So then when we hear about Bitcoin or we start focusing on, we see that it does have this exponential nature to it. We're like, okay, like I've worked hard for 40 years in the fiat system or whatever. Now I'm into Bitcoin. I've got my stack of Bitcoin. Now I deserve to be able to retire overnight or whatever, or I'm going to get a 10x. But like I still just come back, the lower Bitcoin's prices, the better it is for all of us now, at the moment, we don't have digital IDs. We don't have CBDCs. We've still got the opportunity to buy Bitcoin off the exchange. So, like, while those conditions still exist, I want the Bitcoin price for my friends, my family, for everyone out there to be as low as possible. I'd love $58,000. I don't think it's going to happen again, but like I would be in raptures over that because people are just getting more Bitcoin and it's out of the hands of the nation states, the banks, the ETFs, etc., the private companies. And I think the higher the Bitcoin price goes, the more people that are going to chase Bitcoin. I think once Bitcoin's around $1 million, it's going to be safe for the banks and for everyone else not to be able to buy it. Bigger liquidity, bigger market cap, etc. Like we saw that person, 88,000 Bitcoin or whatever, sold $8 billion. And it brought the price down a couple of grand. Like we've dropped more today than when somebody sold $8 billion worth of Bitcoin. But like the higher the price goes, most people probably aren't going to be able to buy it, the everyday person, or be able to buy it and put it in self-custody. So I don't know. For anyone that needs the price to be at 250,000 this cycle, maybe we get there, maybe we don't. But like if you need it at that price, my answer would be, well, no, actually, you just need more Bitcoin. Like that's the answer basically to everything, because you need it to be at $1 million. No, you just need 10 times the amount of Bitcoin that you have now, 10 times 100,000 is $1 million. So just get more and then just chill. Just, put it in self-custody and relax, and it'll get there. As Daz said on your show, it's just one cycle away. Like it may not be this cycle, but it's just one cycle away, a cycle. So it's just time and just get as much as possible. And then the noise, the price, it's noise, it's interesting, but it's like the least relevant, especially the new people coming in the space. If you've been here for 5-10 years or whatever, like you already know, it's all good. And those people are already thinking, like Adam Back is doing Bitcoin treasury company shit to be able to get more Bitcoin, because even he knows to control as much Bitcoin as possible, even if it's not under his personal name. People that have been here for a while still know the answers more. So for like anyone new into the space, like just get more, forget about the price just for a little bit, celebrate it. The I told you so is 100K, whatever. We're going to $1 million. That'll be a fun one as well. But, until then, just stack sats.
Yeah, and I guess if you're not retired, you want the Bitcoin price to come down. Like the only people that I feel like want the Bitcoin price to go up is the people that stopped producing income. And I don't know how many people this are in Bitcoin, because even if people are retired, they tend to still do proof of work and provide value for society. I got to know. So if you're not retired, like you benefit from a lower price because you get more Bitcoin. And there's also an interesting concept that the higher the price is, it unlocks new capital. That's the only really reason for Bitcoin adoption to have a higher price. But individually, like we anyways reach those levels. So like I'm 26, like I want as many Bitcoin as possible. Like I really don't care about, like I care about the price coming down because I don't need money right now. But maybe if I'm 50 or 60, that would be amazing when I'm coming closer to retirement and all those things with the family. But right now, like I can live, I can live like a minimalist and don't have anything and just like stack as hard as I can. And I'm fine with that. And I don't know. I feel like people are not stacking enough. They're not hard enough on stacking.
It's all that matters is just more Bitcoin today than yesterday or last week or last month. Just more. But if you don't mind, I'd just like to talk about how you brought up the retired people. You and I are both young, so I am coming from my own lived experience, my reality. I don't know what it's like to be any older than I am right now, because it's the oldest that I've ever been, and I've got many, many, many decades until the traditional retirement age. So if somebody older is listening to me, and you're like, shut up, you young punk, I need Bitcoin at $250,000 or $500,000 so that I can retire, because I've worked my whole fucking life doing the hard things, building the world, the country that I live in, providing value. Like I need it to be higher. I can understand that, but I can't relate to it. And I do apologize. But for those people, in Australia at the moment, on the fiat system, if you're retiring, you've paid off your house, about $3 million in the bank. If inflation doesn't go too crazy and interest rates sort of stay around where they are, may get someone through as a self-funded retiree. But having, say, $1 million in Bitcoin today instead of in cash is probably enough, or even 500,000 if you're willing to be very minimalist for the next couple of years, or just leave it there. But if Bitcoin's CAGR is 55% per year, which it has been for the last 5 years, or 87% for the last 10 years, or Robin was saying it's done at 87% in the last 12 months, and you've got $1 million in Bitcoin, and like even if that drops off to 20%, you're just pulling $200,000 off a year. So like maybe you need Bitcoin to be at $1 million or something. And I'm talking way out of my depth because I'm not at that age. But say like you've got 4 Bitcoin, you need it to be 250,000. So you have the $1 million in fiat, and then you can pull off 20% a year or whatever and let that at 35% grow. And purchasing power, obviously your Bitcoin stack's coming down. Again, like unfortunately, I still believe the answer is just more Bitcoin now, or wait a cycle, dude, it's so tough. Like someone could have worked and saved for 40 years, and then in the last 5 years, the amount of money that the Australian fucking not the government, but the Treasury, the RBA in Australia printed, they added 67% to the M3 money supply. I think you're saying the US is 40%. So you save for 40 years. In the last 5 years, they just stole 67% of that in purchasing power. Gone. That's what, 25 years of your life just wiped out in a fucking sec. So like if someone's come to retirement now and they've worked 40 years and stuff, but they're just sort of coming into Bitcoin, like it's so screwed up. Just fiat money is so screwed up and it's fucked so many people. So like I'm sorry if that's the case and you're retiring, but just get as much Bitcoin as you possibly can. Find out what your number is and be like super conservative on the estimates of, saying like it's compound 57% per year. Cut that in half or cut into divide it by 10 or whatever it is. Bitcoin's compounded annual growth rate over time will go down, but there will be some years where it's maybe 2, 3, 500% or whatever, and then other years where it's negative. It sucks, man. Like people that have worked their whole lives, they're coming to retirement. If there's a way, maybe they're not earning as much, but if there is a way not to spend the Bitcoin they have and just live off the pension system or whatever it is to get through this cycle into the next one, I don't know.
There are a lot of people, I don't know, it's especially in Austria, I don't know how it is in other parts of the world, but I guess the same, where they are trusting the government, they're trusting the institutions like central banks and the financial institutions, and they still believe in the things that they have been told. Like they believe that if they can just save enough money, they will retire. They believe in the pension system. They believe in all those institutions that are here. And those are the people that I feel with the most, because they are good people. they trust. They are optimistic. They think of the good in the world, and with those people I'm the saddest, because I feel like they're getting screwed over and they're just wanting the best for their family, and they're trusting the institutions. I'm like, like this always breaks my heart. And yeah, I don't really have a question with that, but it just breaks my heart when I see those people that I don't know, maybe it's a single mom that works a job and she barely has enough to save a little bit, and she just saves in euros, and those euros are sooner gone than she can blink. So it's just I've seen a lot of sad examples, unfortunately, and those are usually people that say, oh, Bitcoin is too speculative, Bitcoin is too risky. And why is that? I just heard yesterday, I follow the mainstream news in Austria just to see what's going on in Austrian politics, and they yesterday reported, not yesterday, I think like a few days, maybe like 3 days ago, on the Bitcoin price going up and reaching a new close to new all-time high in the euro. And it's so sad how they report it. They're just like, oh yeah, Bitcoin went up. It's been that amount of price in that year. It has been that amount of price in that year. And today it's that amount of price. And then there's an expert interview coming from some banker that says that is the expert in the crypto sphere. And they're like, oh, is Bitcoin now a valid investment? They're like, you can invest your money, but it's very speculative and you should be prepared to lose all your money if you put it in Bitcoin. And it's like, oh, okay, this is what the mainstream is being told. Of course, that single mom that really desperately needs a break and needs the hope in her life, she does not understand, like, because that's who she trusts. She trusts in the mainstream news. She trusts in the banking guy that is interviewed. She trusts in the central banks and in institutions, and because she trusts and she's a good person, that's why she's getting screwed over. And I'm freaking angry at that. That's sad and makes me angry at the same time.
Dude, I feel you, and I guess it's probably where a lot of your purpose and passion comes from. I know it is with mine as well, but if somebody's coming into Bitcoin, they know nothing about it, and they see it on the news, you know, it's reached an all-time high, whether it's 100,000, 125,000, 150, whatever it is. But they're getting their information just from the news. Like all they're hearing about that is, like, that's really all they're hearing. They're not getting any context or, it's magic internet money and like you could lose it all. But that's all the messaging they're getting. Whereas if they're listening to somebody that's been studying Bitcoin or they read a book like the Big Print or whatever, especially like what Lawrence Lepard does, explains why the money is broken, why Bitcoin's a sound alternative. But then he also dives into like what could be framed as the negative side of Bitcoin. So like in history, it's not just straight up, like it's 3 years up and then 1 year down. For somebody that bought it last cycle at 69,000, and they put all their life savings in it. It could have been that single mother, like struggling to pay the bills, and for some reason she's like, I'm so fucking desperate. Like, if I save it in the bank, I'm not losing it. Like, I'm just losing it to inflation. Worked that part out, and then just goes and just like, I'm going to take all my money, my life savings, I'm going to put it into Bitcoin, and then it goes from 69,000 down to 15,400. That lady's just gone fucked. Like, sorry that came across. Whoever it is in that situation is in a lot of pain, because number one, they don't understand like what they've done and stuff. The one Bitcoin's still the one Bitcoin, but they've seen their fiat dollars go from say like 100,000 down to $15,000 or whatever, 69 if they bought one, down to 15,400. That hurts. Whereas if they are actually putting in the proof of work, they're studying Bitcoin, they realize that it's only moving 11 to 12 days per year, and the rest of the time it's up, down, or sideways. It's just chopping about. And that on any single day, for any single reason, at any time, because Bitcoin is just Bitcoin, it could drop 36%, it could drop 50% or whatever. On a big catalyst, it can very easily drop 76 to 86%. For whatever, Mt. Gox, FTX, whatever it is. And these things happen, but because the way that Bitcoin has been designed and its mathematical nature, just everything that goes into Bitcoin, when you start to understand that it is just perfectly sound money, and short term, the fiat price can go, but the Bitcoin still, going back to Jeff Booth, it's decentralized and secure. As long as that stays in place, that it will come back over time, because we are in the death spiral. But maybe just also having that mentality in Bitcoin, like any single day, I expect a 36% drop. I fear that it will never happen. That's why I keep stacking like every 2 weeks at a very minimum to be able to do it. Just any spare fiat that comes in, I just buy, stack, and chill. In the fear that we don't get that 36% drawdown that I'd absolutely love, that you'd be happy with. But also knowing that if it happens, or we drop the 3% that we've dropped today or whatever, I'm like, cool, this is just Bitcoin, like this is just what Bitcoin does. And I guess like another hurdle rate with Bitcoin is it takes 100 hours to understand, minimum. I don't know how many thousand hours you've put in. I've put in many thousands of hours into studying Bitcoin over nearly last 6 years. And every single day I'll learn something more. But people see like a 2-minute news video or whatever, and they'll make up their mind about it. You're like, fuck. Like it's no wonder sometimes that we get a bad name. It's not easy. It has fucking drawdowns, like big ones. But on the other side of that, it has massive moments of appreciation. And then it'll just drive everyone crazy in between either way. So it's more of like a ego test, isn't it? Like a humility test with Bitcoin. Are you willing to put your own biases, beliefs, everything out of the way, and just see Bitcoin for what it is? It's just mathematical scarcity, and it's just working. Every 4 years with 210,000 blocks, it gets cut in half. Same amount of demand, less supply, it's going to go up. And then that brings in more demand. It's going to go up even more, and we'll get to whatever cycle top, even if the 4-year cycles don't hold true, we're still going to have local tops. It's going to come down. It's going to allow the people that understand it to be able to accumulate more sats for their dollar, and then it'll carry on. Hopefully that's helpful for someone.
It's super interesting. I thought about a thing these days where I think Bitcoin sounds for most people too good to be true if they just listen to what we are saying. And people are trained, if something sounds too good to be true, it most likely is a scam. And this is usually true. Like if it sounds too good to be true, like it usually actually is a scam. And then with Bitcoin, if you really think about it, we might have to, there's this concept in marketing where you should put all your disadvantages and all your things that are not working in front, and then sell them on the good things. I'm saying like, yeah, Bitcoin is super volatile. It can go up and down multiple percent in a day, maybe like 10, 20%, 30% even in a week, and put all the negative stuff that's currently going on with Bitcoin in front, and then saying, yeah, but if you focus on long term, like all the good things with confiscation, self-custody, freedom money, then you get wealthy over like 1-2 cycles and all those things. Back it might be good, because I truly think, and I had the conversation just I think like a month ago with an uncle of mine. Yeah, like, oh, that sounds like it's too good. Like that cannot be true. And I'm like, yeah, maybe, but I do think it's true, and you can actually verify. Like you can actually look at it and see it, and you see really, like if you talk with someone and you ask them questions, and you kind of get them slowly, they're like, oh wait, oh that's amazing. Like, and I talked about that actually yesterday also. I think basic information is not out there. People don't even know that there's a 21 million cap. Like it's such a obvious thing that usually is not
That's
even
right.
talked about in the Bitcoin podcast, because everyone like, yeah, of course there's 21. Like we have all the memes and with 21 million. But if you go out in the street and ask what's the maximum amount of Bitcoin that will ever be mined and be out there, I don't know if people actually know that. I don't know if people actually go on this journey of like, oh yeah, there's no that there can only be less than 21 million. Like that's a hard cap there. So I don't know what to make of it, but I just think we slowly get there, and we need more educators. We need more people that are making content, and we need more people that do local meetups, that go from door to door, that go out in the world and actually just bring the message out there, because that's the only grassroots movement way of fighting against a guy getting interviewed on some mainstream news and saying like, oh, it's risky, it can go down 20%, you will lose all your money. Like, yeah, like of course you can lose all your money if you buy high and sell it low. But that's your own fault. One more thing that I wanted to touch on with you, because I think we talked about altcoins in the past, is that I don't hear anything about altcoins anymore. They seem to be completely silent. Like I have some bots in my comments, but they're only bots, and like not. It seems like not real people. Real people no longer care about altcoins, in my opinion. And like I want to talk with you about that concept that there's now Bitcoin treasury companies, and you said that you're not holding treasury companies. I almost feel like all the Bitcoiners that were into altcoins are still into Bitcoin, but now they are into Bitcoin and treasury companies.
Yeah.
How do you look at that development?
Yeah. So like there are still people that are like the people that are going to make the most money from altcoins, the people pushing the altcoins. They're getting the pre-sales. They know what's happening. They're going to dump on your audience. That's just, 99 out of 100 people are going to do that. They're going to get rich, and they're going to be the people that you're going to see saying like the altcoin cycle here or something. It is for them. But for the average person, like the 99% of retail, or probably to be fair, the 97% of retail going into altcoins, they still exist, but you're going to get fucked if that's you. Like, just don't play around. We've got perfect money. But yes, those people that have that, like nothing wrong with it. And this is just my perspective and my point of view. Some people come for Bitcoin and greed, and that's why I came here. I came through the shit coins, and I've gone through that story many times. I think we may have even talked about it last time. But like, came for the fiat gains to get rich quick or whatever. I've stayed for the freedom now, and like once you truly understand it, so there'll be people for whatever reason come into Bitcoin. But then there's some people who are just like, fix the money, fix the world. I just want the separation of money from state. And then the hardcore Bitcoin maxis and stuff. And then there'll be other people that have come to Bitcoin. They feel like they're late to Bitcoin, but they want Bitcoin. And then they hear about these Bitcoin treasury companies and how, because they're leveraged on Bitcoin, they're going to outperform Bitcoin so they can sell it for a profit and go into it. It is like the more sophisticated or maybe a little bit more educated people that were successful trading the shitcoins and stuff have now switched over to the Bitcoin treasury companies because maybe they're comfortable with risk. They're just irresponsibly long, like that group on X or whatever. But they just want a way, like they feel like they're late to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's too expensive, but they want to get to 1 Bitcoin, which they should, or 10 Bitcoin or whatever. It just answers more Bitcoin. They're just like, see, altcoins are dead. Bitcoin's the most pristine collateral asset in the world. I'm going to gamble on a company that has counterparty risk, can just say one thing and do another thing, can issue more shares than what they said they would, could just keep raising money or whatever. There's other companies that will just put out a Bitcoin treasury company that are making absolutely no fucking profit at all. So there's no real way apart from like financial engineering to get more Bitcoin or whatever. But I think like a lot of the mentality, and if people understand how to be able to like price stocks and trade them and stuff, and they've put in that education, or they're willing to put in the next 2 to 4 years to understand that and learn that as a skill.
Thank you for watching this video. This was only a snippet of the podcast. And if you want to watch the full episode and get all of the context of this episode, you can click right here. Or here. Oh, maybe also here.